Yeah, so first, stigmatization actually comes from the lack of information. When people don't understand something, it's subject to their own interpretation. And when there is a lot of fear around it, and there's not been enough civic education actually for the public to appreciate what it is, how to manage it, and how to support people who are vulnerable, then you leave it to a lot of interpretation, and sometimes it comes in sense of humor, but it causes damage. So currently, in terms of the COVID-19, just as simple as the narrative that you allow even in your own household to build, like when you see the CS for health and the children start calling him the corona person, and you don't correct it immediately, this is something that starts building a narrative that there are things that we're just pegging it to the virus. And so, to correct that narrative, we have to be very sensitive that we are very vulnerable, not now just as a country, but as a people of the world. And we have to take extraordinary measures, not just only on health issues, but also in our narrative on how to empower people. And I think this is one of the things that the government hasn't done that well in terms of civic education, and even in journalists, in terms of the narrative that we allow to go on. So in a village where suddenly an ambulance comes and they are picking someone, and it looks like this person is almost it's almost like you've committed a crime. That level of treatment uh, creates a perception that there's something awfully wrong when you have or when you're vulnerable. The other thing is when we witnessed the burial of someone in Busia or Siaya, uh, it also gave, it builds in your mind that there is something totally not normal that is connected. And instead of packaging it in a way that empowers people and sending information that yes, we want to be very careful on how we want to manage something like a funeral, or how we pick up someone who is vulnerable with so much respect and dignity. But when we do it in a way that disempowers people and makes people feel fearful, that's how stigma starts to build. And stigma is actually also associated to fear. So we have to appreciate that uh, some of the measures that the government is taking are not empowering at all, and they need to be aware the messaging and the perceptions that they create. And that way, it can slowly start managing some of the issues of stigma, but also within our own household and the social media, when we are very sensitive and correcting each other, and just naming it in a way like any other virus that we can have, but now taking in extraordinary measures to protect ourselves, it would be more empowering.